In the movie Sunshine, it's 2057. The sun is dying, and at the very edge of humankind's technological capacities is a possible, theoretical, potential chance to fix it. Director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland take us on board the spaceship sent to do the job, and inside the heads of the crew, who are humanity's best and brightest scientists. Crew of the Icarus II spacecraft have strapped themselves to the back of a stellar bomb and are flying it into the sun on the possible chance that they can restart our star's life-giving thermonuclear reaction. Sunshine is the story of what happens to this group of scientists and astronauts far from home, completely isolated, with the fate of the species resting on their shoulders. In 2007, when the film was made, director Danny Boyle was already well known in the UK for indie hits like Trainspotting and Shallow Grave, and was about to make the international mega hit Slumdog Millionaire. Boyle had developed by this point in his career a filmmaking style that fused an adrenalized spirit, trippy visuals, and judiciously selected music. About the music, listen in some of Sunshine's key sequences for John Murphy's Adagio in D minor, a percussive hybrid of classical symphony and trippy club track that was originally composed for this film and then relentlessly reused in other movies and advertising campaigns ever since. For Sunshine, Boyle followed his custom of assembling a group of relatively unknown actors who would go on to become major stars. Cillian Murphy before Peaky Blinders, Chris Evans before Captain America. Boyle's career is proof that you can make spectacular movies outside of the blockbuster template. If you have enough daring and subversive intent, you can put yourself beyond the flattening sensibilities of Hollywood and retain artistic control. You can do something weird and provocative, and you can subvert the traditional boundaries of whatever genre you're working in. You can pose the biggest questions. You might not give all the answers. And Sunshine is challenging in all of these ways. In one sense, it's instantly familiar. In another, it's entirely new. With Sunshine, Boyle entered the science fiction genre for the first, and so far only time. He said that he instantly found himself tripping over the pillars of that genre. 2001, Solaris, Alien. These movies had established a grammar of space-based filmmaking. The elongated, tubular spacecraft, the small crew, alone with each other, the mysterious distress call, the long and treacherous journey, perhaps as much psychological as real. Boyle thought that the odyssey into cold, deep space had already been definitively treated in 2001, Solaris, and in Alien. The most significant fact of space for humans is our sun. What would it feel like? What would it look like? And what would it sound like to go there? So Boyle definitely draws upon the established visual vocabulary of hard science fiction, but he also pushes the visual and oral palette of science fiction beyond those established principles. Space is usually represented as cold and dark. Here it is fiery, hot, and golden. I want to suggest that there's at least 3 ways to interpret the strange and disturbing journey on which Boyle takes us. In a first reading, Sunshine is a story of science. It's about us pitting our fragile bodies and our fragile technology against the harsh realities of space. It's about our species, faced with an existential threat, being able, for perhaps the first time in our history, to do something about that, to do something elemental. In this sense, maybe the movie can be read as an allegory of the Manhattan Project, in which a small group of super scientists secluded themselves in a vast desert and set about making the first atomic bomb. All the while, they asked themselves, and they asked each other, should we do this? What kind of a world will we live in once we've done this? In a second reading of the movie, this is a journey with profound spiritual and religious stakes. The crew is messing with a grand design, or at least with monumental forces that may be beyond our ability to comprehend. They are, perhaps, just a set of ants scurrying around under God's giant magnifying glass. Logically, in this interpretation, the climax of this journey is our meeting with our fate, perhaps even with our maker. Significantly, Boyle has spoken of Sunshine as an atheist's vision of the end of the world. Perhaps even more significantly, Danny Boyle was set on becoming a Catholic priest until the age of 14, when he finally decided against going away to seminary. A final reading of Sunshine suggests that what is happening on board the Icarus II is perhaps psychological. In this reading, This is a movie about the frailties not of our technology and our bodies, but of our minds. Packed aboard the Icarus II, like sardines in a can, lurching from crisis to crisis, the crew struggle to maintain a grip. Just some of the most prominent imagery in the movie suggests that this might be the most plausible explanation. Notice in particular how often the imagery of the eye is deployed by Boyle. The sun is framed repeatedly as an angry eye. Characters search each other's eyes for understandings as to what they're thinking and to what's happened to others who've set off on an earlier version of the same mission. I think fundamentally, the task Boyle gives us with this movie is determining whether it's an external or an internal story. Is this a story about the vast forces of the universe, or maybe a story about a higher power? Or is it really about what human beings do to themselves and to each other, how they might crack under pressure? Do all those eyes in the movie symbolize people looking outwards or people looking inwards? What really happens to these fin de siècle humans? Is it, in short, all in their heads? My own preferred reading, and you're under no obligation to share this, is that this is a story about how fragile humans are, how tiny we are before the vast forces of our maker, of our universe, how fragile our bodies, our technologies, and our psychology is. But it's simultaneously also a story about how much agency humans have, how we can control our fate in certain circumstances, how we can certainly control how we live our lives. Sunshine is then simultaneously about human imperfections and about human striving. In perhaps the most memorable scene of the movie, Cillian Murphy's Kappa is trapped, he's fallen down, he's weighted down by a chunky spacesuit, and he needs to get to the controls of the massive stellar flying bomb. He struggles, he falls, he picks himself up, and he pushes on again toward an uncertain fate. And perhaps that's the most human thing of all.